Hello everyone, welcome to the final week of Reddit League regular season. My name is Zatomo and I'm joined as always by Calamity. So Calamity, you looking forward to the Olympics? We have some real life sporting events coming up pretty soon.
Not much, to be honest. I'll probably check out an odd event here or there, maybe something that interests me. But I'm much more looking forward to Winter Olympics. I don't care about the summer ones all that much.
Yeah, you sound like an Austrian.
It's maybe because I am.
Yes, somebody from the mountains is more interested in winter sports. What do you know? But anyways, in our competition, we've got a pretty good matchup here for you in Division 3, PatriotsFTW, who is sitting nice and pretty at the top of the table, and Benica towards the middle. I don't think Benica is in any risk of actual relegation, Calamity. He's pretty set in his ways in the middle of the table. But Patriots, actually, no, he's way behind Shumi. That's right. So he could go down with a loss, but he's as high as he can get in this one.
Yeah, and when you say he could go down, you mean he could go down from second place further down, not he could go down to Division 4.
Yes, correct.
But yeah, he definitely still has to. Well, I wouldn't say he has to, but he really wants a win from this game to secure his place in the automatic promotion spots, because he is definitely in danger of falling out of those if he doesn't get a win here. And I think Benica can theoretically still make it to the promotion playoffs if he gets a win and other results go his way, but it's not very likely. I think he would need pretty much a perfect score to have a decent chance at it. So that's probably not that likely. But yes, he is, I think, safe from relegation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the interesting stat here to compare between these two, the same number of aces despite their very different outcomes. Benica actually having one more win, which is weird, but Patriots, all those draws as well as bonus points along the way have bolstered him all the way up into second place. So yeah, the numbers might look a little strange, but I didn't make a mistake this time at least. That's just how the math works out in a very interesting Reddit League season in Division 3. Well, our final week here, and the map they'll be competing on is Kenya by Amazing Keller. Average score 16,347 over 10,000 locations, so probably no repeats, but you never know. We've had quite a few in the last few weeks, and yeah, hasn't been played too many times. But yeah, it can be a bit tricky given the interesting geography of Kenya as well as the national parks that are in the game in the country. But yeah, anybody you favor here other than pretty much just Patriots?
Pretty much just Patriots. No, we had Patriots did have some weak performances, but overall he's been pretty consistent and has put in some pretty great scores. And Benica has had the occasional great score, but he's just not been as consistent. I think he's had some pretty great and some pretty mediocre scores. Mostly just showing up on, I think, mostly on world maps. As I'm looking through this, well, it's sort of up and down on world maps as well. So just a very up and down season. Just looking through his results, you can really get anything from him from 12,000 points to 24.8. But yeah, it'll depend a lot on how he feels about Kenya, I guess. The Patriots, yeah, he hasn't really had much in the way of bad games. He's had Belgium where he didn't do all that well. But apart from that, pretty solid season from him. And he's definitely going into it as the favorite. Especially because, well, he has a lot more to lose if he were to lose. Whereas for Benica, it's not all that important. So I would assume that he practiced a bit more as well.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Patriots very good, consistent season. Benica up and down, being relegated from Division 2 last season, I believe.
I'm not.
I
I think
remember right.
could be, yeah.
Or was it the season before?
Let me quickly check. It was last season.
So many.
Yeah.
It was last season. Ooh, my brain didn't fail me on that one at least. Very nice. So yeah, not probably the season he would have wanted going down a division, and Patriots having an exceptional season, having come up from Division 4. So opposite trajectories for them here as they meet in this final week, and we'll see what they can do, as we will get in to round number 1 here. And, well, starting off on a bridge is good for pinpointing if they can figure out where they might be. A little bit of weird movement by Patriots there.
Yeah, coverage is a bit odd, but it's definitely shouldn't be too difficult of a round. As
there's a county government sign.
Yeah,
A little hard to read, but maybe on their screens in a larger view they could definitely read that. So Patriots has at least a.
I think Benica's already in the right spot.
Oh, there you go. Very quick. Didn't take him very long. Just about 30 seconds.
I assume then that
know where that one was.
Assume he's seen this location. Maybe not this exact location, but at least the city before. Because otherwise I'd be surprised how he would get it so quickly.
Yeah. Maybe he saw it in the dams map, given the fact that it is a dam or a water control feature. So maybe that's where he saw it. Who knows? But yeah, he's right on top of that. Trying to figure out where he is on the bridge, which can always be tricky because the boundary of the river doesn't always match perfectly, but it's good enough for an ace for him there. And Patriots, however, still got 2.5 minutes to see what he can do.
Geoguessr for Benica is like, oh, you must be very smart. You got 5k there. Want to try an IQ test?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this location.
How smart you are and other things.
This location is actually quite difficult to find because it's very far off, as Patriots just found it right there. It's pretty much the furthest northeastern point of the coverage. The coverage stops right there. So I'd never seen it before in practice, like not even registered that that town's a thing. So I knew we were in that town pretty quickly, but it took me like 3 minutes to find it.
Yeah, the signs near the start do give a lot of good information where you might be, and the bridge is obviously very easy to find once you're in the town.
Yep.
It'd be tricky to get that far to begin with, but they both managed to do it. Very nice. Let's see if Patriots will guess here very soon. He will indeed, and pick up an ace. So while Benica was very fast on it, Patriots still getting that ace as well, meaning we're all tied up after one round, Calamity.
Pretty easy one to get, especially to pinpoint. And there was more than enough information, I think, in both directions to tell you where you are. Then it was just about, do you find it on the map? With given enough time, you probably will.
Indeed. Well, let's get into round number 2. And, a long, straight road. A little bit of a wonky camera. Maybe something hit that. I've always wondered, like, how does the camera get tilted like that at times? I don't know if it's improperly mounted on the car or...
Maybe. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's always weird. We saw it in the Bolivia matchup, I think, for Division 2, where the camera was like at almost a 45-degree angle, so that was a bit weird. But this one also proves to be a little bit awkward, making the movement difficult.
Yeah, the good thing about it is, though, that this location, or at least something very close by, wasn't just in this seed, and it wasn't just in one other seed either, it was in 2 other seeds. So,
oh, wow.
If you've played with them, you should be pretty aware of that.
Looks like Benica might be. He has dropped a pin very early on here. And it looks like Patriots as well. Has also decided on a spot. Yeah, I don't remember it being really a thing last season in Reddit League, but this one for sure. Playing the other seeds have really paid off in the last few weeks, which has really maybe helped some people lower in the tables put up a better score, or just steal wins for people who do practice over those who don't.
Yeah, could be. I'm just looking through the last season's schedule right now to see if you're just imagining it, or if there was actually a significantly more repeats this season. But yeah, I can't really remember much, to be honest. But I think it's also that the countries we have this season are just more suited to give you more repeats.
Mm,
Because a lot of them have less coverage.
mm. So I do remember that in Kazakhstan,
Kyrgyzstan.
no, not Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. I always get them mixed up. Kyrgyzstan, I never got the exact same location, but I did get the same road or the same like 20, 30 kilometer area
Mm,
between practice or another seed or something. So, but it didn't ever stand out to me as much as it did in some of these games. Like this is the exact same location or something like that.
yeah.
And yeah, they're both sort of in the area, but again, traveling, trying to pinpoint. They're both on a perfect game, and they would love to earn one. So they're going to use every bit of time they've got. Try to pinpoint. There are some roads where Patriot has us at the moment, but can't quite tell if that's what he's looking at or not. Is this a road? Is this just a dirt patch that people drive on? I don't know.
Probably both.
Probably. Well, if it is a road, it is probably a dirt patch people drive on. But
Yep. But yeah, we haven't talked about the round itself too much because, yeah, as we said, it is a repeat for both of them, and they both seem to know that. So they don't really have to spend much time looking for information. They're both just kind of comparing roads from Street View to the map and maybe looking for some shops they can maybe pinpoint with or some gas stations. But I don't think either of them have really found much to help them.
yeah, that's pretty much within the first 30 seconds. They were on the road, different places on that road. We're going to see who remembered the best from their practice, and it definitely goes to Patriots 4,857 for him there, and 4,338 for Benica. So both remembering the road, but not quite the exact location, which will cost them a bit of points and open up a slight gap for Patriots here of about 500 and not 20 other way around. 18, 19 points? Something like that.
519, yes.
Yeah, there we go. I can do math sometimes for that one. But yeah, maybe they should have paid a little bit more attention to where that location was in their practice round. But
Yeah, as I said, I think there were three of them. Two of them might have been in the same place, but there was one that was definitely a bit up or down the road. I'm not entirely sure anymore. I
mm,
think it's even possible that all three of them were in slightly different places. But yeah, maybe that's also always a thing when you see a repeat and you're like, well, I already know where this is. I don't need to walk around too much to search for that much information. But that kind of just leads to you not traveling that much, which then leads to you not having that good of a grasp of the way the road goes and how it evolves in quotation marks
mm,
over the course of 2, 3, 4 kilometers. Um, which can then lead to, like we had here with Patriots, where he was pretty confident that he had the right spot. Um, but just if he had traveled further, he might have realized that he has to be slightly off. I don't think Benica was all that confident about where he placed his marker, so maybe not that big of an issue for him. But yeah, it can still be worth it to travel quite far to search for more information, even if you do think it is pretty close to where you already are, especially in countries where it can be very difficult to pinpoint with
mm.
street names or even with streets even existing on the map in the first place.
Yeah, another thing is if this was in two other seeds and they weren't the exact same location, there might have been a little bit of confusion, right? Oh,
Yeah,
I saw this. Was it this division's or was it this one's? And it's somewhere in here. And so trying to remember which one is it closer to might have caused a bit of confusion. And traveling again would have helped iron that out for them.
yeah, I
And as
can.
we'll jump
Yeah,
into round number 3 here. Sorry.
I looked it up. Two of them were the same ones. This is one of them that was the same to another one, and the third one was slightly further southeast by a few hundred meters.
And that's they both edged toward that southeast area, so that perhaps that was why.
I,
Seeing a
th-
little bit of their signals crossed.
I think from what Patriots is signaling where the silver car is in Kenya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is in lots of places.
Yes. It's not amazingly helpful.
Yeah, we're either over here or over here. Oh,
Yeah.
those are pretty far apart. There we go. That's a very nice sign though for Benica.
Voila. Yep.
Voila.
Probably just a very small town though.
Mm-hmm. But at least he's got something to keep in the back of his mind as he continues to travel along the dirt road. Yeah, car meta in some countries is definitely nice. In Kenya, there are different cars. Other than national parks, though, they are pretty well spread out. So the
Yeah,
car alone outside of a park isn't going to do a whole lot.
there's specific areas where it does help you. For example, the black car isn't in the western part of the country, and the silver car is the one that travels north and south of Mombasa. So if you
Mm,
know you're pretty far east and you have the silver card, then you're probably on that street. But other than that, especially in the middle of the country around Nairobi and everywhere there, you've got both cars covering
mm.
slightly different roads, and you have some roads where you have both cars on the same road, just going the opposite direction.
Yeah, so quite a bit of overlap, which could be difficult, which is kind of what Patriots was motioning at with his mouse there earlier on. And with about 2 minutes to go, a bit tricky.
I think Patriots has Moala on the map there, so he's pretty close.
He does. He does, in fact, it is to his southeast. And Benica isn't too far off, but he's got to go further southeast himself. Find it.
Patriots spending a lot of time looking at the map. I'm not entirely sure what he's looking for.
Oh, maybe a road that might match the curves or some. He's spent a lot of time also looking at school names. So maybe he's trying to find one of these schools has the name of their town or something, which doesn't always happen, especially in African countries. Tend to be named whatever they want to. And yeah, Benica back to that sign again. Still not quite sure what else to look for. And he has about a minute to try to spend time doing one thing or another.
I think he's not miles away. I mean, he is miles away, but figuratively, he's not miles away. He's sort
Yeah.
of in the right region of Kenya, but probably still might be 50, 100 kilometers off.
There's a county sign for Patriots, but he's already pretty much got the city down, so that won't give him too much more information than what he's already got. Health center itself might show up as a point of interest, which does seem to be what he's trying to find with 20 seconds left.
If that's what he's trying to find, he would need to zoom in a bit further. But I think he's looking for Kivani, which again isn't a city, but not actually 100% sure, but I think it isn't a city and just a name of the institution.
Does he know Moala? Okay, he is still close to it, but it didn't seem like he even knew that's where he was close to. He might have seen the name, but he was guessing very far away, especially in the last second, almost moved his pin very far away from it. 4,703 points for him to finish up. Benica slipping up, like you said, Calamity, figuratively in the right neighborhood, but too far northwest, only 2,761 points. And with 3 rounds gone, that's going to open quite the gap for Patriots for him. And look, his promotion hopes are looking promising.
Yeah, I don't know if I think at one point Benica was a lot closer to the right location.
I think he was. He was outside of Nairobi in that southeastern district, and he moved north, I think, with a few seconds left.
Bit unfortunate there for him.
A bit unfortunate indeed, as we'll try to get us into round number 4 here. And yes, he definitely didn't like that round because he spent a lot of time in between. Taking a look at that, seeing what happened. Always a good clue how happy they were with the round, how much time they spend in between them. As we'll jump into round number 4 here, and nice little town, actually quite a big town. Off in the distance that Benica can see.
Yeah, you've got two typical suburban looks in Kenya. We've seen with the what was it, the Division 2 seed with the Chicago Radocks game it was, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the typical look of the Nairobi suburb, and this is the typical look of the Mombasa suburb. Very sort of dry, some palm trees around, some pretty rundown houses, a lot poorer generally than the Nairobi suburbs. And yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
everything a bit more whitewashed.
There you go. There's a phone number as well as the actual PO box address for Mombasa
And
for Benica, which will help
for
him out.
for once, actually an academy named after the part of the city it's in.
There we go. Maritini Sunshine Academy. There we go. And Benica will drop his pin on that.
Knowledge is light. Always fun.
English is the primary language of Kenya, correct?
Yes.
I'm not mistaken on that.
It's just always fun to look at all of the religious references in countries like Kenya or Nigeria, because a lot of them just sound very absurd to, you know, a European or I assume American person as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there are plenty of churches and stuff in America, but kind of the kind and nature of the signs in Africa is very, very different, which does make it feel a bit weird.
And I think Europe
But
is
I'm sure that yeah, they would say the same about our kind of signs in churches. I'm sure, but
yeah,
it's a different style culture. So.
I think Europe is the continent where religion is the most out of fashion, so to speak, in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, certainly recently. I've got some pretty big churches up there, though.
Yeah.
Lots of little indications of some points of interest and things, but all not exactly where they are. They're all signs pointing to them. And the actual starting location is kind of tucked back among some houses, so it'll make it even a bit trickier to figure out where they might be.
Yeah, pinpointing suburban Kenya can be fun, but it's definitely not easy.
Plenty of information. I think you have to really get into those weeds. There's that primary school. Looks like Benica's having a little bit of luck. But again, doesn't move his pin quite yet. Patriots making to a main road with about a minute left to go.
Yeah, the main issue is that just none of the roads are named.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you kind of need to find a POI or generally a major road and then just go off of that.
Like Patriots has found a couple he might be happy with. Again, still not. There was a sign to that little hotel, but is that exactly where he started? Who knows? Quite. Benica also zooming into the same neighborhood. So if they're both wrong, they're both wrong. If they're both right, they're right. They're not too far apart. But Benica really needs to do better because he's the one chasing the leader here.
Wisdom's with
So.
Sotomo. If they're both right, they're both right. If they're both wrong, they're both wrong.
I should say they're both equally right or they're both equally wrong,
Yeah.
roughly. Right. And sure enough, points pretty similar, only 7 points difference. Benica getting a slight advantage there. 4,996. Patriots 989 for him in that one. It did seem to me, Calamity, that Benica was focused more on the roads and Patriots more on points of interest. So that was a bit interesting to watch how that unfolded. And in this case, at least, paid off for Benica a tad bit more.
Yeah, I don't actually think Benica traveled that far. At least we saw Patriots making it to a main road, and I don't think we saw Benica making it there. But yeah, maybe just a bit of a better grasp on where he was in regards to the main road. Maybe a bit of luck coming into it as well.
Indeed. Well, they've only got one more round to go here as we get into round number 5, and still quite a significant lead for Patriots. 19,549 points for him over Benica, 17,095. So they're going to need one heck of a round if Benica is going to get anything out of this. His score is not too bad, so he might pick up a bonus point on the weekend, but a win is a little bit further away. And again, that silver car means we've got to be somewhere over here, Patriot says.
I think
there we go.
This kind of location.
Bengala? Is that the town name?
It's one town name. Whether it's the town name we're in, maybe. But yeah, this kind of location is probably the most difficult you generally get in Kenya, where, you're just somewhere in the middle of nowhere where there's a lot of small villages around, a lot of houses next to the road, but there's no real big city anywhere. Kind of just have to find something, probably a county sign.
At least give you somewhere to start to search for things.
Yeah.
And there's a boys' school and a girls' school. But they still have those in Austria?
I don't know actually. I assume they do.
Probably somewhere, but like
yeah. I'm not aware of one in
rare.
specific.
Yeah, they're becoming rare, but they still seem to be pretty popular in Asia as well as Africa. See them a lot for that. And yeah, it's more signs, but again, nothing to really help too much. The small village names are all they've really got right now to work with. As we hit that 2-minute mark. There we go, Ecuador Special School.
That probably has something else below it as well that's important, but I can't read any of that.
It says a P.O. Box something Rongala again.
Okay.
So that must be the post office that all this area uses.
That's actually, I did not realize that at first, but it's the Equator School, so it's on the equator.
And well, Benica's found a city called Equator. So
okay,
might also have something to do with it, but yeah, if it's actually on the equator, they might want to zoom out and check that one. Again, they've seen some signs for some other local small information, but nothing too big, which means they're still down to just searching for those small names. Both looking in that northwest part of the country, so again, keeping pace with each other, at least in that regard. Not a whole lot else going on. Just a bunch of maps scrolling and reading.
Yeah, I'm not.
Good old GeoGuessr.
I think Patriots is looking for Angala, which is not a reliable method of getting a good score in Kenya.
Yeah, he does seem to be pointing to that, giving it some extra attention. But yeah, and Benica traveling. He's found a town he might be happy with, but we'll see if it's actually the right location or not. With only about 10 more seconds to go. And that won't give him anything else. What was that? Sydney? Can't quite read that. It's a bit in cursive, but nope. Quite a ways off for both of them there. Unfortunately for Benica, even further off for him. I'll try to pause on that score. 1,910 points for him. Patriots 2,484. And that will mean Patriots seals the win, and with that seals his promotion to Division 2. Division 2, yeah. Calamity. Yeah, he just keeps climbing that ladder, so I can't remember what division he's in.
And it was Sidindi, by the way, which was probably the only thing either of them found that actually was findable on the map. I mean, Benica found Equator, but we see how that worked out for him. So it's the only useful thing, let's say it like that, that they could have found on the map. But yeah, both of them, I think in this case, both of them just didn't travel far enough. Right strategy there is definitely looking for a county sign, or maybe looking for some distance sign or signs towards bigger cities. But yeah, searching for small towns where you can't even be sure that they are on the map, marked as such, not what you want to go for in Kenya.
Yeah, a bit rough. Kind of a bit of information overload, right? You're in a rural area. There's plenty of signs, so you're like, oh, the information has got to be here somewhere.
Mm,
And you spend all that time reading those signs, not traveling, getting a big road number or a bigger city or a county. In this case, in Kenya, and just missing out on quite a few points there. So not the best game by either of them, but a win nonetheless for Patriots. And congrats on your promotion. And we'll see if you see Calamity next season. Calamity still got a game of his own to take for promotion, and we'll probably be able to bring that to you here in the next couple days. So take a look at that, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
bye.